Let's talk more about vinegar. Alright, if we remember, this is the Trebbiano vinegar that I made in the All About Vinegar episode. And it's done. It's been done for months, but I just haven't gotten around to it. This mother will continue to grow and grow and grow, and this little spot right here is just where I dipped down earlier today and tasted the wonderfully light, slightly aromatic, pleasantly sour vinegar that this Trebbiano made. So let's continue that by making more vinegar. All right, I don't really care for Chardonnays, so I actually have a lot of them on hand because I used to work in the wine industry, and those were kind of the samples that didn't get drunk. So I'm gonna experiment with this one and then make one with something that I think will actually make very good vinegar. And I have here a Sauvignon Blanc from Sonoma. So clean spoon, clean cutting board, clean knife. I'm gonna fish this mother out of here. Right, and we're actually gonna cut that in half. And get half in here, and half in here. So when I bought the mother that I used in here, which I'll link to in the description so you can get yours down below, it told me that you can reuse the mother that grows on the top. That's exactly what we're doing here. And then it gave me proportions. It wants 1 part mother, 1 part water, 2 parts wine. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. These are pint mason jars, so I'm just gonna go 4 ounces a cup. And we followed our proportions. Now I'm just gonna put a coffee filter on the top of each of these mason jars and screw them down so that they can still breathe, but the fruit flies can't get at them. Find a way of labeling them so that you know, and the date on them also doesn't hurt. Cool, dark place. I'll check it in 2 months. If it's not acidic enough for me then, I'll let it go for a month at a time until I'm satisfied. You should do this through a cheesecloth, but I can't find one, so I'm just doubling up this brewing bag that I have from my homebrew setup. Get that in another mason jar. Now this will still be an active culture. This will still have the mother in it, but we are putting the lid on. We're denying it some air, so it's not gonna go as quickly. If you don't want this to grow a mother at all, just put it in the fridge. Now let's use this to dress up a salad. And all you have to remember for a salad dressing recipe is the rule of 3. You want 3 parts oil to 1 part acid. And if you're going to use an emulsifier, which I highly recommend, you're going to take it down another 1/3. So if you reverse that whole thing, you use 1 part emulsifier to 3 parts acid to 9 parts oil. Let me show you what I mean. My part is going to be a tablespoon. That's going to give us roughly a 1/4 cup or 50 milliliters of dressing. That's going to be too much for a single serving. You can definitely put the rest in the fridge. So we're going to go with 1, 2, 3 parts of oil. And there are those out there that will tell you to drizzle that oil in, and yes, that's the way to do it if you're making a lot of dressing and you want this to stay together for a long time, but we're making enough to eat right now. 1 part vinegar. As anyone who has graduated the 1st grade can tell you, vinegar and oil will not stick together. We have pockets of each one of them. So we can whisk this together and toss our salad and eat it, and it's going to taste great. Or we can use an emulsifier. Mustard, mayonnaise, egg yolk, they're all going to give you very different results. Egg yolk might be better suited to something a little bit more punchy, like a Caesar dressing, or mayonnaise might be suited to something a little bit more like a ranch. We're making a vinaigrette. I'm using Dijon mustard. Teaspoon of this, which is 1/3 of a tablespoon. I'm going to sort of mix that in with the tablespoon first to get my mustard off of the spoon. And you can already see that that's sticking together a little better. I haven't even started whisking yet. And the reason for that is that all of those emulsifiers that I just named have 2 sides to their molecule. One is hydrophobic and one is hydrophilic. Hydrophobic, water-fearing; hydrophilic, water-loving. So the water-fearing side sticks inside of the oil, and the water-loving side will stick to the vinegar, which is great because that gives us the opportunity to make things like a vinaigrette. I like using a bowl and a whisk because I'm going to toss the salad in this bowl, and it just keeps all of my dishes kind of in one place. You can use a jar and shake it, which I've seen done a lot. You can use a food processor, which is also very efficient. When you're whisking, there's really 3 ways to do it, and one of them is wrong. A whisk is not a wooden spoon, and we do not stir with a whisk. All right, so really that leaves us 2 correct ways to use a whisk. You can use it like you're beating eggs, or you can use it just for aeration and move it back and forth. And here's what those look like. Okay, that doesn't work exceptionally well for this application, but this, and we're just kind of whisking air into this vinaigrette. All right, and if I was going to eat that all right now, that's where I would stop. Since I'm going to put half of this in the fridge, I'm going to go for a little bit longer. So that's your basic French style vinaigrette. What we're going to do now is dress up a little bit with some fresh thyme that I just picked up from the garden. and a very small amount of fresh squeezed orange juice. And I only want to squeeze so it doesn't throw off my proportions of oil to acid that much. And now we're ready to make the salad. So now it's all very simple. I just have some freshly washed and dried spinach. Use a little bit more than you think you want because the dressing is going to coat it, shrink it, and the vinegar in it is actually going to cook it a little bit. I like to use some tongs for this. We're just going to get a little bit of dressing on each leaf. We're just going to put little bites of orange in this whole thing. I want about an ounce or 30 grams of chèvre or some sort of crumbly cheese. And here I have about, I don't know, 15 roasted almonds. I like roasted almonds because to me they're a little bit sweeter. They have a little bit of more of an umami flavor, and they don't get stuck in my teeth as much as raw almonds. Toss that around a little bit more. Give the cheese an opportunity to stick to the lettuce. And the idea is that all of the heavy stuff floats down to the bottom, and that way we can get it all on the top. And then our crushed roasted almonds right over the top, just as something a little bit crunchy. And when we come back, I'm going to put a pork chop right here. Teaspoon of this, which is 1/3 of a tablespoon. That's so nice. Needs a little bit of salt.